I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Let me know if everybody can see my screen.
Yes, can see it now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm.
And let me just double check if. And John, do you see the recording notification that has started?
Where is that? Oh yeah, it says recording has started. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so once again, good morning, happy Friday. Today's topic of discussion for Azure Power Lunch is VNet integration for Azure App Service. And folks, as I said, I would really appreciate if you can mute your phone if you are not asking question. Thank you. Um, a quick introduction about myself. I have been with Microsoft for a little more than 14 years. Uh, I have been in software industry for 23 years, and I am currently as a cloud solution architect in this role for almost 3 months. Um, Here's a quick agenda. As usual, we are going to go over some of the Azure service updates, recent updates in the Azure service, because I mean there are updates like almost every week there. And then I am going to talk about our topic of discussion. Okay, so quickly, here are a couple of updates. And by the way, anytime you want to look for updates, just remember these URL. Just Google, Bing, or whatever your favorite search engine is, just do Azure Service Updates and you will come here, or Azure Blog and you will come to this link. So just bookmark those two links to find out what's happening in the world of Azure. So this one is about API management, Azure API management, which is our API proxy service. Um, we are now supporting entering in a preview support for OpenAPI v3. This is the latest OpenAPI standard, and what that means is that we are going to be you will be able to import OpenAPI v3 APIs. You will be able to expose your APIs through API management with this standard, and there is some other work as well, which you can take a look at it and find out what is going on. And by the way, there are going to be constant updates to this preview feature till it goes into GA. So this is kind of one of the big update. And the second one, this is regarding Azure Lab Services. If you remember, it used to be called Azure DevTest Labs at one point, and now we have named it Azure Lab Services. So the goal of this service is provide you to provision machines quickly to for like classroom for labs. So let's say you want to run a classroom of some sort where you want to give people access to machines so they can do their hands-on lab and things like that. That's where you can use it. You can set those up so they can start up in the morning and shut down at the end of the class. So you can do all that scheduling now through Azure Lab Services. So this is basically makes it really, really easy where you don't have to worry about complex scripts and all that or automation. It is all built in to this service. Any questions? Okay, folks. So let's move on with the topic of discussion today. And this is about a VNet integration with app service. And folks, once again, if you're not asking question, please mute yourself there because there is still feedback I can hear. So here are some of the VNet integration feature, which is related to as we come with app service networking. So first of all, we have to be very clear that there are features when requests are coming to your app, and then there are feature when you're calling out from your web app. So whenever you create an app service, a web app in Azure App Service, these are the two things, and they are not the same because, and we will talk about it in a second. So first of all, of course, when something is coming to your app, default app name is your app name.azurewebsites.net. That's why it has to be globally unique. It has an app assigned IP address. So this is an app assigned IP address. So basically you can lock that IP or set of IPs. Then you have IP restriction. You can put IP restriction to where the request to your web app can come from. And then you have an ILB service environment, which is basically an app service environment which you can create, which can totally live inside a virtual network without any public endpoint. So it will have a private endpoint. So this is when requests are coming to your app. And by the way, I'm talking both about app service, public app service, which is multi-tenant, as well as app service environment, which is a piece of PaaS deployed into your virtual network. So when we talk about from your app, that's basically, um, you know, it has access to all internet addressable IP addresses by default. You can have VNet integration, and we will talk about VNet integration, what we have now and what is in preview, and how the second one is better. Then we have something called hybrid connection. If you want to connect into your on-prem environment, there is a way where you can do it without using something like site-to-site VPN or express route. It requires an agent running on-prem, which opens an outbound connection, and that's how you get access to on-prem resources. I have some customer who are accessing mainframe and some web services on-prem to using hybrid connection. And finally, of course, app service environment is one that you can use for deploying inside your virtual network. So moving forward, um, this is why to is not the same as from, because when your requests come in, they hit the front end. So there is a, when if you're hitting multi-tenant app service, there are server running on the front end which are handling requests, and then they send it back to the workers. On the back end, which does actual processing. So when you're going in, you're hitting those front end. When the request is coming out or some request that web app is making, that is coming from the workers. That's why these two things are different. And this is the same if you are using an app service environment, because app service environment has worker pools and front end, front end role, front end web roles. Okay. So moving forward, so this is the new feature announcement. This is the new VNet integration. So first of all, I'm going to spend a quick minute on what we have today. At this moment, without this new VNet integration, we have a VNet integration, but what it requires is you have to have a VPN gateway on that VNet, and then you will be able to do that VNet integration. And it has to be a site-to-site VPN gateway. Express route VPN gateways are not supported. So that is one of the big drawback of this. And so you have to have, and the thing is, it's basically have some bandwidth limitation because you are opening a site-to-site VPN, point-to-site VPN, and your site traffic is riding in a pipe inside that. So the way it was implemented, it has some serious limitation, and especially if you add that site-to-site VPN restriction that it has to have a site-to-site VPN gateway, and it doesn't work with Express Route Gateway, that's another bummer. Okay, so what does this new VNet integration provide? First of all, it does not require any gateway. You just need to have a VNet. That's it. And of course, it is only supported for ARM VNets, and app service and VNet have to be. So there are some restrictions. or some requirement. Folks, can you please mute your phone? So first of all, the web app has to be on a standard or better app service plan. VNet has to be an unused subnet. And just keep in mind that it has to be, I mean, it is recommended that it is /27 with 32 addresses, because when your app service scales up, it can go up to 20 instances. So it has to have 20 free addresses in that subnet, and you cannot use that subnet for anything else. Okay. It is available for newer Azure App Service SKU. So if you have an app service that you have created, it may or may not have that support. The way to check that support, I will show it to you how to check it. Right now, there is no obvious way, or there is no like a like a marker or a flag which tells you. There is a way to do it, and I will show it to you when we go into the demo. Once again, app and VNet, it goes without saying that it has to be in the same region. Okay. At this moment, it is available for preview in all region. But one thing to keep in mind, it is not supported for production workloads. Okay. So that's very important while it is in public preview. Okay. Um, there are some limitation in number of VNets that can have, but that may change at GA. And right now, it does not support VNet peering. So let's say you have connected an app service to a VNet, and then there is another VNet that is peered, and there is something running. You cannot access that from the app service. So it cannot cross peering boundary, but that limitation will go away once we have once we hit the GA. And at the same time, at GA, you will have PowerShell and CLI support. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
So I have a question. So make sure I understand that right. So in the future, in GA, app
Uh-huh.
services can hook up to, like, let's say, a hub, a VNet,
Yeah,
and then all spoke VNet appear to that hub. The app services will have
that's
access
right.
to that.
That's right. Yes.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Yes. That is at the GA. That is
Okay,
promised at the GA. It is
awesome,
Do,
not available right now. Okay.
cool.
do we know what the time frame is for GA?
Uh, they are targeting at this point middle of this year, and it can go up or down a little bit, but
Right.
that's what they talk. Because I think since what I know that there are so many and by the way, this is all public. There are different teams involved. You have the app service team, you have the networking team, and then there are other teams as well, which have to make sure that their stars are aligned to go into GA. So that's what, because it is built on top of new networking stack that we have deployed, where your admin interface or networking stack is different than the networking stack used by the consumer. So that's what it is.
How does that play with going across Express Route back to
Yes,
on-prem?
exactly. I mean, it will work. It will work.
It-
Drawback, the previous one was that it only works with site-to-site VPN, but this will work with both because it has no dependency on the gateway. It is only you just put it in a subnet, tied to a subnet, do the integration, and at that point it should be able to go all the way. Okay.
So with that though, would my resources in other VNet have access to that app services through the VNet?
No, no, no. As I
Okay, so
said, it is two. So
okay,
basically, sorry, it is from. So this app service that is running will have access to resources in other VNets which are connected through VNet peering, or on-prem if it is connected through site-to-site VPN or ExpressRoute.
So if the other VNets needed access to the app, they would come in through the front door.
Yes. It is not, I mean, and by the way, I will talk about a feature which will go into private access to private IP access to a app service. And we will talk about it. Just bear with me for a second. That is
Sure.
Okay,
coming. Okay.
cool.
Okay. So there are two demo scenarios. One, this is the one where I have a virtual network in which I have integrated a web app, and that web app is going to be connected. That subnet is connected to Azure SQL. If you remember, through service endpoint, so this Azure SQL has no connectivity to any Azure service. It only allows access from those subnets. That's it. So that's one scenario that we are going to see. The second scenario is I have a VNet. In that, I have integrated an app service into a subnet, and in a different subnet, I'm running a SQL server in a VM. Okay. And I am connecting to that SQL server from that app service over a private IP 10 dot, RFC 19, whatever that range is on that. Okay. So these are the two scenario I'm going to show. So first of all, let's go in here and I want to show you how we can do the integration. So this is an app service. First of all, the thing you want to check is go into the app service, go to the app service plan, and in that app service plan, check for click on scale up. We are not doing scale up. We just want to check something. If you see these instances, P1, V2, P2, V2, and P2, V3, it means that you are on the V2 of apps. I mean, you are on the advanced or the app service which supports this VNet integration. If you don't see those, then it means that you are not on that plan. Okay, then you have to create a new app service plan and host an app service on that and then make the connection. At this point, upgrades are not supported as far as I know. Okay, so once you have done that, you confirmed, okay, I'm on the plan that supports it. So now what we're going to do, go into networking. I'm going to say click here to configure VNet integration, and you will see two VNet integration. One is the add VNet preview. That's the one we are targeting. Add VNet. This is the older one. This will go away once this goes into GA. Okay. So I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to select this is my VNet and this is the subnet that I'm going against. And I'm just going to say, okay. It will take a few seconds to complete the integration. Now I'm going to come in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the console. So this is the console window. This is opening. Now you are on that app service. This is a console window to that particular app service. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to connect from this console to other SQL server. Okay, it means the demo guards are not in my favor. Let me just refresh it. Let's try it again. Okay, so we are here. Let me just go back to the console. Because what I wanted to show you was that I can connect, not clone app. Okay, I'm gonna go into the console one more time. Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna try to connect to a SQL server, basically try to establish a connection using TCP ping. If you are not aware, this is a way of doing ping through TCP. And as you can see, I am doing it over a private IP address on 14.14.3. So I'm trying to establish a connection to the SQL server, which is running on this particular machine. And as you can see, this SQL server connection is successful. So now it is able to connect to that SQL server. Okay. So it is as simple as it is. By just doing that, we have established a connection. Okay. Now I have two other apps that I have, web apps that have,
I
connect.
do- I have
Go
a
ahead,
question about the connection.
please.
So look when you're connecting using basically private IPs, can you use some kind of DNS services or no?
No, no, no. This is, yeah, you can use, once you are this in that VNet connection, you can use whatever you want based on that particular VNet DNS.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I'm just using a private IP address. So I can use a DNS name, but that DNS name has to come from. Okay. So now I have two other apps. Um, and basically both of these apps, one of them is both of these apps are running simple applications and connecting. One is connecting to Azure SQL, and I want to show you the firewall settings of the Azure SQL. Give me 1 second. This is the firewall settings, and as you can see, it has all. I have turned off all access from Azure services. I can connect it from my on-prem through my machine, and these are the two subnets that I can connect to through service endpoints. Okay, if you don't know about service endpoints, I mean, this is just want to let you know that this is a way where you can tie a subnet to a particular Azure service. Okay, so long story short, so this is basically that's what I'm doing, and I want to show you those app services, web apps. So this is the first web app. This is connecting to um, the um, the SQL server, and I can show it to you if I click on that. This is basically this is connecting on the private IP address, and I can go in and I can access this data. I can create a new item if I want. I can name it this and just then create it, and it will create it. So this is going over a private IP to a SQL server running in a VM in that VNet. Okay. The second one, this is connecting to the Azure SQL. Same thing. This is going over an IP address. This is going, sorry, over the over a service through a service endpoint into an Azure SQL, which is basically just tied to traffic from that particular subnet. Okay. So it is that simple. Okay. So any questions? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over what is coming soon. So these things are going to be coming um, later this year. I'm not sure about the timeline, but it is probably, build ignite timeframe. These things gonna start hitting. This is the service endpoint. So service endpoint, what this will do is if you have a VNet and in a subnet you have running some application and you wanna tie that VNet to a particular app service, you can do that with. So basically what will happen is that app service will only take request from that subnet. This will be very useful as you start using web application firewall, or a firewall of some sort, or to protect your app service. This is for multi-tenant app service. Okay. This is the private IP support. This is basically to the web app. So what you can do is with this one, you can tie your web app with a particular IP address. So what will happen is that your um, app will only be available on a private IP address, and it will be accessible from on-prem. So this is for line of business application. You want to host an application in multi-tenant app service, you do that, add private IP support to it. Here you go. Now you can access that app from on-prem.
Okay,
Once,
just go back
yes,
to that.
yes.
Make sure I understand it. So in this way, basically, you're accessing the app services using private IP, and
Yes,
therefore you would turn off your internet facing if you don't want anything
that's
coming
right.
in.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
basically now you're making an app service a private app service without having to go to
yeah,
ASE.
yes,
Yes!
yes, exactly.
Because
So
Yes,
we've
we can
been looking for
eliminate
this a
having to use
long,
Yes,
long
ASC.
time.
yes.
yes,
I
this
mean,
is
yeah. Okay, just let you know, ASC it will still be there because I know some customer, they want full control over that environment. And there are some things happening in ASC as well, and I will talk to you about it in 1 second. But let me just go through this. This is basically you have private IP support plus new VNet integration. So now you have entirely private uh, app service, multi-tenant app service. So basically what's happening is that your app service is available only on private IP address, number one. Number two, your app service now, since it's inside a VNet, so it can go down and access resources in that VNet or on-prem through ExpressRoute or site-to-site VPN.
Can
Okay?
you put an application gateway in front of that or a
Yeah,
WAF in front of that
yeah,
to?
you can. Yeah, you can. But the thing is, yes, absolutely you can, and then expose it through the web. Yes,
Yeah, if you
yeah,
wanted to.
yeah. If you want to, absolutely. Why not? Okay. App service environment fast scaling. I mean, who thinks that app service environment scale fast? I think nobody. So basically, this is something. What will happen is that we will have a regional VM pool. As soon as you start scaling, we will add VMs from that pool into your ASC so it can scale up quickly in a matter of minutes. And while the actual scaling, when the actual scaling happen in your ASC, which takes time, we will remove those VMs from your pool. So basically, this is kind of giving you, your bar, leasing you some VMs that you can use. By the way, the end user will not know what's happening. They will just know, oh, my ASC scaled up really, really fast. Okay. But this is how we are doing it behind the scene. And once again, this is all public information.
So how about
Okay.
the pricing though? I mean, if we have
Same,
the pool
same.
available,
Yeah. So basically, pricing is the same, just like you're paying it right now.
right? I mean, I guess if as long as this is transferred to the customer, they are not getting priced, they'll be okay.
No,
But
no, it will be transparent to the customer. They will
okay,
only see quick scaling. Yes. This is how we are doing it behind the scene. This is kind of a sum. Okay, finally, completely isolated ASC. This ASC, right now there is an issue with ASC in a sense that, let's say if you put NSGs on your network and you are not careful, it can block the admin ports, and suddenly your ASC starts malfunctioning or doesn't work. What this will do is this will remove the admin ports on our and move it to the admin interface of an ASC. But as I said, this is the new networking stack where we're separating the admin piece from the actual piece that consumers are using. So you can put all ASCs, I mean, you can completely isolate it. There is no port open. If we have to do any maintenance, we will come on the portion that is on the admin side of it, which is completely, um, you know, hidden from the user, and they don't have to worry about, and they don't have to fear messing it up by any ways. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Any questions? I know we are right at the top. Sorry, any questions?
So on this isolated ASC, I'm just curious, the management traffic is still going essentially northbound, but the platform basically obfuscates it from the client?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So you don't have to worry about, okay, man, I just put an NSG and suddenly I blocked those ports and my ASC stopped working.
I have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any limitations on how many app services can use VNets inside of one tenant?
I think there are five VNet per app service, but I think this will change once we go to GA.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, take those limits with a grain of salt, because unless those are GA, I mean, they will, go up or change.
Well, so 5 VNets per app service is one aspect of the limitation, but when you look at the limitation per subscription, you could have 20 app services connecting into that, connecting to a VNet or to subnets within a VNet.
Yeah.
Is there a limitation that you're aware of as far as the number of app
No,
services?
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I think there would be some sort of limitation, but once it goes to GA, then we will find out.
Hey, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, is there a VNet integration plan for logic apps and container groups?
For containers,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you can run it in an AKS and things like that. For Logic app, there is something called integration service environment, which is currently in private preview. Very little details is available in the public world. So that's something where you will run Logic apps, something similar to in an ASC style environment. It's called integration service environment.
But not like VNet integration, like keeping the logic app
Not right
itself.
now. Not right now. Hopefully there is something like that there, but not right now.
Oh,
What about functions? Would the recommendation be as this is being introduced, would it be to run functions in one of these? If you need to get a function to access your on-premise data, that's been a
Yeah.
big request, and putting it in an ASC is costly. Would this be one of the paths that we would recommend?
I'm not sure. There is a premium function plan which is currently in private preview.
If you're not speaking, could you go on mute, please?
So there is a premium function plan
Right.
that is available in preview, which allows you to connect to VNet. Folks, please, if you are not speaking, can you mute yourself? Any other questions, guys? I'm sorry, I have another call to jump on to, so thank you very much, and I will post the recording on our YouTube channel. And please feel free to reach out offline if you have any question. Happy Friday, and see you next week.